Hello, guys. Welcome back to Kosi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi. Another tactical preview, another tactical analysis. Not actually a preview, but another tactical analysis of the game we beat Slavia Praha 4-0. And in this one, I'm basically going to look at Emile Smith Rowe, Bukayo Saka, Nicola Pepe, and Alexander Lacazette, plus Danny Ceballos. Those are the only players I'm interested in. I'll also talk about Mikel Arteta. I think he was brilliant, yesterday. I think his formation, the way he started that game was so brilliant. I need to get this off. Just disturbing. So, it was a game that I thought Arsenal were not going to win, but finally we did it. It was brilliant. It was easy. Mikel Arteta went with Leno in goal. He went with Callum Chambers in the right back. He went with Rowe and Pablo Mari in the centre back partnership. Granit Xhaka played as a left back. I hope everybody saw that. Dani Ceballos was in the midfield with Thomas Partey as well. Nicola Pepe played on the left wing, and I'm going to talk about that very keenly. Alexander Lacazette played down through the middle as the striker. You had Saka on the right wing. Of course, behind Lacazette was Emile Smith Rowe in the number 10, a player that I think did what he had to do. He was absolutely marvelous in that game. So we're going to be looking at what exactly happened in this game. How did we destroy these farmers in such a very short period of time, and how did we get it right? Probably what are some of the best actions we could actually take into the next games against Fulham, against Villarreal, and the next opponents we have, I mean, until the end of the season. So I think the first player to highlight here, just to give respect, is Granit Xhaka. I think he was very brilliant because he's playing left back. He's a midfielder. All of us know what he provides to us when he's playing in this area alongside Thomas Partey. But in the last two games against Sheffield United and against Slavia Praha, he's been playing deep as a left back, and I think he was a little bit calm, brilliant. You didn't see many players, crosses, coming from that side. You didn't see many players taking him on. He was very solid, and I think Mikel is very right when he says, he's a player that is that versatile. He gives you whatever you demand from him. He's always, fighting to try something, something new. Pick up, Granit Xhaka. I think he was very good. Of course, what you don't get with Granit Xhaka, and there's so many people, who will disagree with me, because what you don't get from Granit Xhaka is those runs, those kind of runs from, from a typical left back or from a typical full back. You don't get those kinds of runs because he doesn't have the pace, and he's literally, it's understandable. He's literally not, he's literally not, he's literally not a fullback. So you don't get those runs, but defensive wise, because he's a defensive midfielder, you're going to get all the action you deserve. And I think Dani Ceballos was so good when it came to tracking back for Granit Xhaka. So you had the both of them in that area, trying to help out each other always, and I really did love it. When these two combined, into the left back. I think Tierney will be very impressed that those two actually managed to be in that position, and we didn't leak goals courtesy of his absence. Okay, Murray, Robolding, I don't think we had much to do and talk about them with Leno and Chambers. I think Chambers had a few crosses in. He was a little bit good defensive wise. I don't think they had a lot to do. However much the game was situated in this in this half, in this area. I don't know whether you people noticed, but it was more of Arsenal getting onto the break rather than possessing the ball, because they had 65% ball possession. We had 35% ball possession. It was more of Slavia Praha getting to the ball, passing, getting into this area, trying to man this area in the midfield. But I think they didn't do enough, to actually exploit us and make us panic. So how did we score those goals within a very short period of time, and how did we actually maintain and control this game throughout the end without the ball? Because literally, like I said, possession wise they had it, passes, number of passes they had it. The stats are very beautiful on their side apart from the goals. what was different in that game? That is what was asked to Bukayo Saka, and that is what I want to try to answer. First and foremost, I think one of the key players in that one. Let us start with Nicola Pepe. Pepe scored the first goal in the 18th minute, and he was in this area, and I think that is a brilliant area for Nicola Pepe around here. He's left-footed, and he's now playing on the left foot. Something that at times I didn't agree with, because I prefer him in more of an inverted role as a winger, trying to cut in and take the shots, but that has not worked with him very well at Arsenal. So I think he was brilliant in this, in these little pockets of space on the left-hand side, because he gets time and chance to get into the box. And if you look at the goal he scored, you still remember. I think it was Emile Smith-Rowe. He gives him that ball. He waits, he waits for the goalkeeper to come out, dribbles a little bit, left, and then squeezes it onto the near post. That was so brilliant, very, very brilliant from Nicola Pepe. I think he had a very good performance. And I think the other thing, and I said that in the match preview, that Slavia Prague don't want those players that are always going to run, have the ball, and create a lot of havoc for them. They're gonna, put them into panic mode, and I think that is what Pepe was literally doing in that game. So he was brilliant. I hope he doesn't actually decline. We need more of those good performances from him as a player. Okay, for me, the most interesting one in this one is Emile Smith-Rowe. Before we talk about Ceballos, Saka, and Lacazette, the most interesting one in this one is Emile Smith-Rowe, because in the last game against Sheffield United, we didn't have a number 10. Odegaard was injured, and Smith-Rowe was injured as well. So you had Emile Smith-Rowe come back in this one as the number 10, typically as the number 10, and it has created a lot of worry in my heart as a national fan, because when Smith-Rowe is playing onto the left-hand side of the pitch, you feel like at times he's a little bit anonymous, lost, or something like that. However much he's good at stretching play and doing all those beautiful things, but this guy is so productive when he plays around this area. Very productive. If you look at the Nicola Pepe goal, he's the same person that set it up. He had managed to get a goal in the 14th minute, but it was cancelled. He lays off that ball for Nicola Pepe, and Pepe does brilliantly to finish. Then you have Smith-Rowe again releasing Saka, if you still remember, releasing Saka, for that first goal that was actually cancelled. Saka moving from here and making that run, there, then takes, a ball and hits the post, and then, Smith-Rowe gets back and finishes it, but he was offside. But I think, he was brilliant, because what he needed there was a player who could create multiple chances for you as a team. And I think he did it brilliantly well. The way he released Saka time in and time again, Saka was always on the penalty area. And because what Smith-Rowe does and Odegaard give you is, these wingers, Pepe, Saka, and probably Lacazette, they don't have to carry the ball. All they need to do is run into spaces. You run into space, you carry your body and your legs and your boots, and then Smith-Rowe will actually bring the ball to you. So he's the ball carrier, literally. He's getting this ball, he's running with it, and then he releases it in these spaces, at a very, very terrific speed and at a very timed run. So I think Smith-Rowe was brilliant. Saka was brilliant as well, and what I liked about Saka in this game was a little bit more. He was a little bit more direct than he has been in the other games. Because if you look at the number of times he went for goal, the number of times he wanted to score, it was just brilliant. The first goal that is disallowed, he gets to he hits the bar. And then the second goal, he goes for a low shot, but still in the same position. He doesn't look out for Lacazette, doesn't look out for Pepe. He wants to take issues in his own hands in this game, and he does brilliant well. I think, again, a lot of running from Saka, because the issue with Saka there is you're always going to have him, around this area. Then you're gonna have him around this area, as a player. Then you're gonna have him probably on the left-hand side a little. So if you look at his sit map, it's more of he's more of a player nowadays that is really playing a freestyle, gets onto the pitch and does his thing brilliant well. Then the other player that I loved in the game was Dani Ceballos, and we need to talk about Dani and Alexander Lacazette. I think let's first talk about Dani because I think he did control the midfield and govern it in terms of position and having the ball. But if there is anyone who helped us to control the game, it was Dani Ceballos. Like I said, in my opinion, the game was played in this, in this half of the game, in this half of the pitch where Slavia Praha had committed many numbers, of their players. Actually, absolutely many numbers of their players, in our half, just like you'd see, around there. So they had committed so many players, in our half. I think they were a little bit more confident than they should have. I didn't expect them to be that confident. They possessed the ball, they did all the good things. But what Dani Ceballos did actually was slow them down, especially when we had scored 3 goals already. What he did was slow them down. Whenever he got the ball, he didn't rush to pass it and make those right. Sorry for that. Just need to change the handler. Okay. He did make these, through passes, because what that does is you make that through pass, you lose the ball, and then it comes back again. So what he did, whenever he got the ball as Ceballos, he just tried to distribute it, around the midfield, play with Partey, play with Emile Smith-Rowe, play with Granit Xhaka, who did brilliantly well by shifting from the left back position to the midfield, so that Pablo Mari stretched a little bit to the left hand side. Our main defender was Rowe. That was scary, wasn't it? And then you had Callum Chambers as also a member of the back 3. And I think that was brilliant. So Ceballos was so good. His game control in that one was very, very, very brilliant. I really loved him. Whenever they tried to break, he was trying to intercept, make those, put that barrier in the midfield. If one layer of the barrier is crossed, he could create another. And I think he was very, very, very brilliant there. Then the other one, of course, the captain, man like Lacazette, he took a knee. He took a knee instead of in front of Slavia Praha players, telling them that there is no room for racism in football. And of course, that's the message. It has to be reinforced over and over again. Of course, he took his chances. That's the first thing you have to know. He took his chances. But I think it was really wise, and we were lucky, that Alexander Lacazette played in this game instead of pierre-emerick Aubameyang. Because like I said, we didn't have much of the ball all the time. We only had 35% possession. So that means all the goals we had, we were to score were coming from very, very deep areas. We were not close to their box as they were close to ours. We were not always governing the game. We were not always running the game, in terms of the statistics and the possession. But, he could fall deep, give a lot of space to Emile Smith-Rowe to run into. And then probably when Emile Smith-Rowe releases, that ball for Saka, then Alexander Lacazette is just arriving. That's why you saw in the first goal that when Saka hits the bar, actually the post, it is not Lacazette who taps that ball in, back in. It is Emile Smith-Rowe, because what Lacazette gives you as a striker is he's kind of a false 9. Is give me that ball, I'm going to create a lot of space for the wingers and the number 10. And Emile Smith-Rowe can score many, many goals, as well as Martin Odegaard. They can score many goals if they're playing with Alexander Lacazette than if they're playing with pierre-emerick Aubameyang. Because what Aubameyang gives you is, he's this kind of clinical finisher. He's always waiting for that through ball. But Alexander Lacazette will carry that ball, release it, and then disappear from this area around here. So, and then disappear from this area. I don't know what I'm trying to do. Okay, so, and then disappear from that area. So, you will not see him as that kind of striker that is always in the box. So whenever he disappears, Emile Smith-Rowe can get into there, probably get a go at goal, Saka as well, and Nicola Pepe as well. But it was a very, very, very brilliant, team effort from the lads. Smash the like button and do subscribe if you feel, that was a very, very important win for Arsenal. And I'll speak to you in the next one.